around. There's a load of hungry people behind you. If you want to pass it around, you can. My name is Owen, E-O-G-H-A-N. Where are we all from? Is there any Irish people here? Just yourself. On your own. There's nobody else with you, no. Where are you from?
Ireland.
Ireland, that's a good answer. Fair play to you. Keep it general. Oh, jeez, to love the health and safety in Germany. Well, until I give you the health and safety talk now. Keep your seatbelt on. Don't be waving at your friends because your arm will get chopped off and you can't be going back to school tomorrow with no arm. It'd be embarrassing, wouldn't it? So we don't be waving at your friends like this because your arm will get chopped off like mine nearly did there. So we're going to tell you a little bit about Dublin, a little bit about the Vikings, and we're going to watch this lady trying to deal with this food situation. She's doing her best. Well done, perfect. Good organisation. So he's over the holidays, he's studying here, or what's the crap? Studying in Trinity College. See that? What are you studying? Business. Okay.
You have to open your seatbelt on water.
Want to take over the Viking Splash Tour? It's an enterprising business. Good stuff. Good stuff. But anyways, how long are you here in Ireland? Are you here a long time or? Okay, when did you just arrive? September?
Hello to guys, today we'll be going on the Viking Splash in Dublin. We'll be going in the water and on land, showcasing some cool landmarks, and we'll be going in the canal soon. So stay tuned.
I the Tavis College out to everyone said except the Irish and the women. Hurrah! Anyway, move on. So the reason that we're talking about the Vikings, ladies and gentlemen, is because the Vikings decided to settle down in Ireland. After about 100 years of chopping our heads off, they came over here in the 700s originally, over the coast of the west of Ireland, and they went to these islands where there was these early Christian monks. Because the Romans never conquered Ireland, we kind of separated from the rest of Europe. We were surrounded by the ocean. So the Vikings sailed over here and they found these very intellectual people, these very spiritual people, and they said, let's chop their heads off and rob them. And they brought them back to Scandinavia. And eventually, these Vikings wanted to settle down and build their own towns. By the way, we take one of the most scenic views of Ireland. Look at this. Unbelievable view. You wouldn't get that over in America, would you? Gorgeous view altogether. The park there. Now, Stephen's Green Shopping Centre was built in the 1980s. Before this was built, there used to be an outdoor market here called the singing songs about rebellion and love and drinking and drinking. I'll give you an example of the type of songs they would have sang. You can clap along if you want to keep yourself warm. You can clap along. Lovely stuff. In the very month of May, when we always started, left the girls and tunes so sad and broken heart. Saluted father, clear, I kiss me darling mother. I drank a pint of beer, big beef and tears of mother. Off to reap the corn to leave where I was born. I cut the stout black horn, the Baptist coast and gravel and sprang you pair of blokes. Whippling over the bog, frighten all the dogs on the rocky road. The double and 1, 2, 3 for 5. Run the hare and turn her down the rocky road. And all the way to double and 1 for Ballyrath. For the guard at night they rested limbs so weary. Started by the light next morning bright and early. Took a drop of the pure, dropped me heart from shrinking. That's the pies cure. When Aries in to drink and see the lassie smile, laughing all the while. That be curious style that set your heart above inquiring what I hired. The labour I required till I was nearly tired of the rocky road. The double and 1, 2, 3 for 5. Put the hare and turn her down the rocky road. And all the way to Dublin, back for Ballyrath. There's a bit of look cool for you. And there's another fella called Thomas Moore. His statue was outside of Trinity College, you might notice. Thomas Moore was a songwriter as well, who wrote songs back in the 1700s. Now, we're going into the old city of Dublin. Years ago, it was surrounded by walls. It was a walled city. You had the Vikings, followed by the Norman invasion, followed by the British Empire controlling Dublin for 800 years. 800 years the British Empire controlled Ireland. They absolutely loved it here. Centre of British rule in Ireland was Dublin. The centre of British rule in Dublin was Dublin Castle. We'll show you Dublin Castle now in a few minutes. And of course, buildings like Trinity College would have been built at the time of British rule as well. As I said, Queen Elizabeth I. A lot of the red brick buildings up here, Victorian buildings built at the time of British rule as well. So a lot of the buildings that were built in Dublin were built at the time of British rule, because that was a long time, 7 to 8.
Stay tuned for the water part. I dunked the camera underwater so you can see what's in the canal.
Followed by the War of Independence and the Civil War, all happened between 1916 and 1923. The Long Hall pub is an old Victorian pub, goes way back. Very famous pub, that. On the right hand side there you have the indoor market that George's Ark was located in the exact location that the Vikings had their settlement in 841 AD. So we're coming into the heart of our Viking city. Wood Quay, 841 AD, the Viking settlement of Wood Quay. Get them around the right hand side with the yellow umbrella. 1, 2, 3! Christ Church Cathedral was built in 1030 AD. 16 years before that, in 1016, there was a big battle called the Battle of Clontarf between the High King of Ireland, Brian Boru, and the Vikings. He defeated the Vikings. And there's a lovely statue in the corner there. You see with the 3 children holding hands. This is commemorating something that children did long ago in Ireland. It's called playing outside. Great times. I think there's an app for it now. We're going under the archway now of Christchurch. One of the main reasons the Vikings settled here, of course, was they had the river they could sail across to their settlements in England.
Yupa! The Gardy, yup the Gardy.
Exiled to America, and when he was over in America he raised funds for the various rebellious activity here in Dublin. He died in 1915, his body was brought back here, and there was a big funeral. At the funeral there was a big speech given by Pádraig Pearse, which led to the 1916 rebellion 1 year later. So the Irish-American community were a big part of the rebellious activity too. There's our council building, our tricolour up there in the roof, the green, white and orange, and there's a little alleyway called Fish Amble Street.
I know some of you don't want to watch the whole thing and just want to see the water part, so here we go. Here's the water part.
Smock Alley Theatre, if you want to see, it was because he liked cowboy movies, and he used to stand on the side of the street with a big long coat, and he had a bunch of keys, and he used to pretend the keys were a gun, and he'd point them at the people in the bus and go, bang, bang! He became known as Bang Bang. Hi, Bang Bang, how are you? And there's a coffee shop called Bang Bangs, so if you want to achieve fame while you're here now, just pretend you have a gun. Here we go! Hold on tight. No health and safety. We're going straight into the water now. We have to get home early today.
Yeah, guys.
Hold on, no. There might be a bit of a drop. He's going to reverse into us. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to make our way into the water now.
Yupa!
Your seatbelts off until we get out of the water. See if this thing works today now. It didn't really work yesterday. But anyway, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Yup, bro!
Oh, good. You got a nice camera there.
Yeah.
Is it waterproof?
Yeah.
It is. Good stuff. Oh, there's the old locks there that separate the river and the sea from the Grand Canal Basin. This is the name of the area here, the Grand Canal Basin. Part of the Grand Canal. 1755, some engineers came over to Ireland and they said we're going to build a canal. How long is it going to be? It's going to be 82 miles. And how long will it take? It'll take 2 years. 46 years later it was opened. How did they dig it out? By hand and shovel. There's no machines. They had to dig it out for 46 years. From Dublin all the way through the centre of Ireland as far as the River Shannon. It's a long canal. And then 50 years after it was opened.
Sorry for interrupting, but this thing was built in World War II and is like meant for this, so don't worry. Like, it's safe, you won't drown. They give you life jackets anyway, so don't worry.
The edge of the wall here coming in from the river and the sea. This side coming in from the canal, and the other side park along the edge of the wall. And then people were employed loading and unloading boats into the warehouses that would have surrounded this area. There's only one of the old warehouses left. I'll show it to you now in a few minutes. This water is fresh water from the canal. The canal is always flowing. It's flowing downhill in towards Dublin. It goes right through the centre of Ireland. There's lots of nice walkways you can do along the canal and cycleways. 2 canals primarily, the Grand Canal, which is this one, and the Royal Canal. Now this doesn't look like a canal, this is because it's specifically built so boats can park from the canal, the river and the sea. There's the Airbnb European headquarters, the circular window there. An old warehouse. Massage on a barge. Here we are now. Massage on a barge. And then behind the barge you can see an old stone building. This is the last of the original warehouses. So this is the type of building that would have surrounded this area Back in the old days, there's only one of them left now. It was converted actually into a residential house. Somebody lives in this house, this old warehouse. At the edge of the walls there, you can see where the horses would have been walking and along the wall there, pulling the boats along before the engine was invented. And that's where the canal enters in there, underneath that bridge there. The Grand Canal enters into the Grand Canal Basin underneath the bridge. It was originally a drawbridge. It would open up to let the boats come through and then close to let the trams come over. It doesn't open up anymore, so there's not too many boats parked this side. Hopefully in the future we'll have barge boats parked along the edge of the wall again. A little mini Amsterdam here. We're already smelling like Amsterdam. We might as well go the full way. That is Dermot. So you can see the Google European headquarters. Red, white, good job. You can get it. Speaking of good jobs, you see the red poles and the green bits. This is part of a permanent artist. The white hotel there. You see the bottom there, that's a 5-star hotel. You see the bottom, the shapes there. You might see other things there if you don't want to see. Anyway, we'll go on. Marker Hotel, looks European. Corner there. So the Google European headquarters in front of us, there's the old bridge, Sean McMahon Bridge, the old drawbridge, and Boland's Flour Mill. Sean McMahon, who the bridge is called after, was a rebel in the 20th century. Under the water. This is the Grand Canal. There's two canals, Royal Canal on the other side of the river, Grand Canal here, and if you're to follow underneath that bridge, you end up 82 miles away from the last night against Portugal. And there's the lockkeeper's house. Lockkeeper was the best job ever. Two things that you had to do as a lockkeeper. One was to open the lock, the other close the lock. Class. Oh, my dream job. And you get a pension as well. There's some drinking drivers, which is nice to see in fairness, kind of a retro vibe. But anyways, my grandfather used to work on the canal. He used to drive a barge boat for the Guinness Cup Dublin as well. Young fella with the cabin, do you want to see the native Irish lion? Have a look here, and he's usually here now on a Sunday. Just keep looking at the windows, you'll see him. He strolls around here now, nobody minds him, he's not too wild. There he is there, look. Great old lion, the native Irish lion. Where would you get it? That park there was like a little private park for the ladies and gentlemen of these Georgian houses. They could stroll around their private park. That's still a private park. But it's going to be a little My name is Owen. You're a Mila Mohan. We have a big round of applause for Dermot, our wonderful driver. Plenty of Dermot. We do accept tips, and it's going to be between myself and Dermot. One more roar, 1, 2, 3! Thank you